Hello everyone, Simon Jacobson here. Another episode of Meaningful Live. Update from the Spiritual Warfront, week 11. What does it mean to be truly alive? This program is dedicated by June Shower in memory of Rabbi Yeshua Gordon. As the war rages on in Gaza, and every time you see another fallen soldier, 20 years old, 21 years old, your heart literally tears apart. The truth is, every loss is terrible, every civilian loss. And I would even say even the loss of people who are guilty is terrible. It's just that we have no choice. It's not that we celebrate anyone's death. You start thinking how senseless it all is. The pain, the loss, the grief. But it's clear that we live in a world where there are some people who are forcing our hand and against one's will have to go to defend ourselves, to do whatever it takes to protect ourselves and our families. And there are many, many lessons that we learn from events like this. In times like this, it tends to crystallize what you stand for, as I've repeated time and again. So, as far as a report and update from the spiritual war front, because every war is fought both on a military, physical level and on a spiritual level, including psychological, emotional, personal. I could say from my work, there's never been more receptivity, more vulnerability, more tentativeness. People are on edge due to the volatility, the uncertainty. So it's a time to really strengthen and fortify our innermost resources, our souls, our hopes, our convictions, our values. And that's indeed what I'm seeing happening. It could be much more, but whatever you see is quite powerful when you see the nobility, the kindness, the beautiful good that comes out under pressure. Why it has to happen, while also such terrible things come out, such negative, that's how it seems like reality works. So I wanted to speak about a few things that jump out at us all. You know, what makes it even more tragic and sad is the fact that it's being done in the name of God. You know, it's one thing when people fighting and saying, I want territory, I want power, I want control. I feel I'm justified to it, not you. Not to suggest that exactly is justified, but you know what you're dealing with is selfishness. People are selfish, but in the name of God, you would think that the first and most important thing of all is the defense, the protection of the fact that the human being and every human being is created in the divine image. That's what God did. So how could you even talk about hurting another divine image? And not just hurting, when you hear about the atrocities, the mutilation, the burnings, the humiliation, the brutality. It's against God's creations. Let us say that they are doing everything against what God wants. It's still God's child. When I start hearing the equivocation, oh, 1 second, but Israel is killing civilians and children. They're not killing civilians and children. They're going after an enemy. Let's not forget that. The enemy has hidden behind children. If the enemy had have decency, they would send all the men, women, and children, innocent, away. They would ask other countries to take them in. That's part of their war. Let's not kid ourselves. Are innocent people being killed? Yeah, very deliberately. When you use a human shield, whether it's a man, woman, or child, that shield becomes a threat. If someone broke into your home and they're ready to kill and are killing your family, but in front of them they have children. Will you say, oh, I'm not going to kill these children? No, the children are now part of the weapon. They've been weaponized. Why the world does not understand that is just beyond me. This does not minimize the tragedy, but it defines it. It's as simple as that. The image of God. We cry when even a Hitler would be killed. Not because we cry over his death. He had to be killed. There was no choice. I mean, he killed himself, the coward. He had to be killed because he would have killed so many and killed so many. But we cry that a human being put on this earth could fall so low. So that is our approach and that is our attitude. And I have to state it as many times as has been stated. It just simply needs to be stated for the record. That when the day comes and people look back, just like Eisenhower understood, when the camps were liberated, these concentration camps, he said, bring the photographers, bring the media, bring the Germans, bring everybody, let them see, because one day they'll deny it. Things have to be stated for the record forever and ever. That's part of the spiritual war, clarity. Not to get ambiguous and ambivalent and maybes and equivocations and contexts. No, clearly defining what is right and what is wrong. When the line has been crossed. Some of us are blessed with that clarity. And some, unfortunately, can be swayed, can be brainwashed, can be confused. That is why those of us that are clear have to speak up. But it brings me also to a deeper point, and we've been trying to look at the Bible for direction, of what is truly meant to be truly alive. You know, we all want to have peaceful lives, healthy lives, together with our loved ones, with our families, calm, serenity, tranquility. At times of war, when people are dying, that doesn't mean that we are now in a culture of death, even though some people perhaps live by that. It means we have to face the realities of life and death, but it also compels us to look at what is alive. When I see a 21-year-old young soldier fallen because he's protecting and defending others, do I see him as dead? Yes, in a certain way, his life is ended. His family will be devastated now and forever. No one minimizes that. But I also see a life where a person gave his life for others. I see people that are alive walking around. Not only don't they give their life for others, they don't give anything for others. Not here to be critical. It's just the reality of this world. One of the most sacred things. I wish he didn't have to give his life. We all wish that. But is this person dead in the sense it's over? No. His life forever will be remembered by any decent person, especially those that were protected and defended by this soldier and by the many. Forever. He gave his life to protect someone else's life. So it brings to mind this week's biblical chapter where it talks about Jacob, of all places. Where is he defined as being alive? Of all places in all times, I should say. When and where is he defined as being alive? Vayechi Yaakov, Yaakov is alive, is the last days of his life. We were told he lived 147 years. And now we're called, and Jacob lived. And where was it? In Egypt, of all places. Not in his homeland, where he survived his entire life to live the home of his parents, of Isaac, and before that Abraham, Israel, in Egypt, in a depraved land, where he came to escape the famine to just survive. And this is where he ends up living, and the best years of his life. 17 years he lived there. As the commentaries explain, 17, the numerical in Hebrew, the word 17 is the word good, toiv, good, best years. of all times, right before he dies, and in this dark land that would end up becoming the Holocaust for the next generation of Jews, the grandchildren of Jacob. So we're told, because real life is not defined always by what it looks like. It's not always about the comforts. It's what is called spiritual life. Real life, biological life, if you define biological life, you're breathing, your mind is working, your heart is beating, other factors that the medical community will call life. You can be alive on a biological level, but be a zombie. You can be emotionally dead, you can be spiritually dead. That's why we're told the wicked people, even in their lifetimes, they're called dead. Righteous people, even in their deaths, they're called alive. Because life is not defined purely by the medical and biological definition. It's defined by what you stand for, what you've lived for, your legacy, what you will be remembered for. There were people in history that were most powerful in their time. They controlled so much. The day they died, people could not sigh a bigger sigh of relief and want to forget them forever. There are people who may not be such headlines, but you want to always remember them for what they stood for. So we stand now today, thousands of years later, and we talk about Jacob, and we talk about Isaac, and we talk about Abraham, and we talk about Sarah, and Rivka, and Rachel, and Leah. These are people that live forever. They live through their children, they live through their values, they live through their legacies, they live through everything that perpetuates what they stood for. That's called eternal life. We all want to live physically and biologically, but we need to remember true life is not just that you breathe. True life is that you make others breathe. True life is how much you love. True life is the effect you have, the eternal, permanent impact you have on those around you. So when you look at wars like this, you start asking yourself, who do I want to be like? No, nobody wants to die. We shall live by God. God tells us, don't die by me, live by me. But who do you want to live like? What do you want to stand for? What do you want to be remembered for? Massacring, raping, pillaging, mutilating, burning couples, children to a crisp, or standing up for the values that we cherish, protecting the divine image of every human being on this earth, fighting for standards, fighting for a morality, fighting for bringing love, goodness, kindness, godliness into this world. So wherever we are in the world, even if we're not in Gaza, even though we're not in the ground zero, the war zone, this is a time of battle and war. What do you stand for? I have no doubt that this is a defining moment of our lives. Things like this do not come every day. I also have no doubt for myself that I've been trained all my life for a time like this. This is when we must rise and stand up for what we believe in, and not cower in fear, and not be defensive, and not be confused by the propaganda machine, what is right and what is wrong. I have never been prouder to be a Jew. I've never been prouder to be a human being. This is where humans rise, not as savages, as compassionate, sensitive souls, here to fulfill a calling, a purpose of making this world into a beautiful world. And unfortunately, you have such darkness, such pain. So you fight the fight, but you remember what you're fighting for. So I look to Jacob thousands of years ago. We're talking about 3,500 years ago, 3,600 years ago, 3,400 years ago. He lived in the darkest of places in the world, and right before his passing, he and his life was what was called a true life, a good life. Connecting to that, you're connecting to eternity. My friends, let us fight the spiritual war. We've been called upon. We've been chosen. Nothing's by accident. Why are we living here in this time? So as the curtain comes down to the year 2023, a complex year, a painful year, a war-like year, we are called upon to usher in a new era. Because that's what it comes down to. The cracks of life are like the cracks of an egg, allowing a new life to emerge. It is up to us to see it through and to allow that light to emerge. A stronger light, deeper light, more commitment, more conviction, more connection to what we so value, our families, life itself, love, beauty, light. And may we merit to do our part, and cumulatively it will collect together and erupt into a revolution, an unprecedented revolution that will once and for all eradicate and eliminate all toxins, all hatred, all pollutants, a world filled with divine knowledge as the waters cover the sea. Divine knowledge, not just knowledge, divine knowledge. And yes, in our academic halls and our ivory towers and our capitals and our governments will be saturated with a knowledge about a transcendent experience higher than ourselves, where we all belong and we all work together. We all complement each other in this great cosmic symphony. May the pain come to an end. May the crying come to an end. May the losses and deaths come to an end. And the only thing we should remember is the beauty that we had created. You and I have that power right now in your personal life, in your sphere of influence, in the people you can reach out to, people that are in your orbit, and even beyond through technology today. Let us continue to fight that spiritual war. And there's no doubt that it will spill over to help the military part of it, to do its job and bring justice and truth and love to all people. Thank you so much. Simon Jacobson, meaningfullife.com. Please check out our website, our YouTube channel, subscribe, share. Thoughts, comments, suggestions are all welcome. Be blessed, be well. Everyone have a very happy New Year, happy holiday, and a happy future for a much brighter world in the year 2024 than ever before. Thank you.